Da, da,
Hello,
da.
hello.
Oh,
Cross back over.
Oh my
Hello.
cross back over.
Oh,
I'm gonna
the
take a
stage is
seat because-
huge here, isn't it?
Oh, well, who's zooming who is what I want to know. Hi,
Okay.
Aggy Dune.
Hi, Mrs. Kasha Davis. How are you?
Oh my gosh, you know I'm just a delight, and it is so good to see you. I haven't seen you in a while. Over Zoom, you look at least 10 years younger.
10? I'm going to get a refund on these lights I got off of that Amazon.
Honestly, what the great thing about Zoom is that you only have to wear drag from here up. You know, we don't have to wear shoes. Who needs hip pads? This is just
You're not
fantastic.
wearing shoes?
Not at all.
What did I do wrong?
I'll be fair. I do hear that the way that it's lined up for getting the vaccine, it goes medical professionals and then drag queens are second. So we're right there. So we'll be coming to you live very, very soon.
Essential.
Exactly. We are essential workers. And much like Cher, we're like cockroaches. Nothing's really probably going to harm us. So we're going on and on. And
we don't have clown lung from all that powder and hairspray that we've inhaled. We'll be fine. But from a distance.
From a distance. Well, we do appreciate everybody, tuning in to all the different virtual shows. And it is so fantastic that the JCC has put together clips and performances from ourselves and other fabulous performers throughout the years.
Bigwigs and others.
Exactly. We'll send in the tapes. But, people can sit home, have a cocktail. There's always time for a cocktail.
And you don't have to drive.
Right. So you can have a double. And then you can watch these videos and enjoy. And, I hear some people are actually, in such a position where they can donate.
Tell me more. Tell me more.
Well, of course they can send us a tip. Why not? We are drag queens. That's how we live.
I always say all I want is just the tip.
Just the tip. But you can also donate to keep the JCC going, and we really do appreciate any donations to keep theater alive and going.
It is so hard for a theater to stay afloat during all of this because we need butts in seats. But if you can't get in there to put your butt in that seat, you can still put your wallet on that seat. Send a little something, keep the arts alive until we're all ready to be back together. And I know I am dying to be back on that JCC stage.
This is the first year where we haven't been able to do our holiday show over 17 years together. And now the JCC, 10 years of bigwigs at the JCC, and here we are zooming.
10 years of doing the New Year's Eve show. That's a lot of balls dropping. But you know what? We're not going to let that tradition end. We're going to do it right now, right here. Well, not on camera because the kids can see.
I just love doing the Bigwig show. And I think that the audience comes to expect certain performances from us.
I would agree because we ask at the beginning of the show, who do you want to see in the show? And we always hear, Tina. She's here.
Cher.
Eliza, she's here. Cher, she's here. Barbara. Well, we're at the JCC. Of course she's here.
Of course she is. Well, here's a little bit from one of our previous performances, one that we loved at the JCC. I hope everybody enjoys a couple of these clips.
This has been a pretty crazy year. We have announced the season, changed the season, re-announced the season, changed it again. But now that we actually have a plan, we hope that you'll come back online and from the comfort of your home, enjoy some of our upcoming shows. In January, we have the Matzo Ball Diaries, a piece that we're doing in conjunction with the Jewish Women's Theater of Los Angeles. A great, charming, fun evening about food and family. And then in February, You've Got a Friend, the music of Carole King and James Taylor, brought to you by some very special local performers. In the 15 years that I've been running Center Stage, I have directed a lot of plays. My favorites, though, are the summer program, our summer stage program, where we work with area youth who are all on professional tracks, making theater their potential career. And of all those summer stage shows that I've directed, I think my favorite was Hair.
Hair is one of my favorite shows, and the first show that I did at JCC. After seeing the summer stage production of Urinetown back in 2006, I was just so blown away by it. And then I had the opportunity to audition for Hair a few years later. And I am so grateful that I did, not only because I love the show and because of all the friends that I made, but being in that show led me to work as an intern for Ralph the following summer. And then I ended up being hired to work there in 2010. And 10 years later, I'm still here, and there's nowhere else I'd rather be.
She asks me why I'm just a hairy guy. I'm hairy noon and night. Hair, that's right. I'm hairy high and low. Don't ask me why. Don't know. It's not black bread like the Grateful Dead. Darling, give me a different day alone. The day I try to breathe and steam my sing it out there, and our shoulders ain't longer. Here, baby, there, mama, everywhere, daddy, daddy, I'm going I live night and breeze, and be calling the trees, give a home full of fleas in my hair. A home full of fleas, high for bees, and that's what birds are, ain't no words of me. A little wonder of my
It seems like I've just done so many shows with JCC, and it's been a wonderful time and experience for me. I have to say, I mean, one of the greatest memories for me, and one of my greatest prides of a show that I've done is Fiddler on the Roof. It is just such an iconic role, and it was such an honor for me to be able to do that show at the JCC.
if I were a rich man. Da-hit-dee-hit-da-hit-dee-hit-da-hit-dee-hit-da-hit-dum. All day long I'd biddy-biddy-bum. If I were a wealthy man, I wouldn't have to work hard. Da-ga-dee-ga-da-ga-dee-ga-da-ga-dee-ga-da-ga-dum. If I were a bitty-bitty rich digga-dagga-digga-daggle man, I'd build a big tall house with rooms by the dozen right in the middle of the town. A fine tin roof with real wooden floors below. There would be one long staircase just going up and one even longer coming down. And one more leading nowhere just for show. I'd fill my yard with chicks and turkeys and geese and ducks for the town to see and hear, squawking just as noisily as they can. And each loud could land like a trumpet on the ear, as if to say, here lives a wealthy man. If I were a rich man, dagga-digga-dagga-digga-dagga-digga-daggle-dum. All day long I'd biddy-biddy-bum. If I were a wealthy man, I wouldn't have to work hard. Dagga-digga-dagga-digga-dagga-digga-daggle-dum. If I were a biddy-biddy rich digga-dagga-digga-daggle man, I see my wife, my gold hair, looking like a rich man's wife with a proper double chin, supervising meals to her heart's delight. I see her putting on airs and strutting like a peacock. Aye, what a happy mood she's in, screaming at the servants day and night. The most important men in town would come to fawn on me. They would ask me to advise them, like a Solomon the Wise. If you please, Reptevia, pardon me, Reptevia, posing problems that would cross a rabbi's eyes. Boy, 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 boy. And it won't make one bit of difference if I answer right or wrong. When you're rich, they think you really know. If I were rich, I'd have the time that I lack to sit in the synagogue and pray, and maybe have a seat by the eastern wall. And I'd discuss the holy books with the learned men 7 hours every day. That would be the sweetest thing of all. If I were a rich man, dum. All day long I'd biddy-biddy-bum. If I were a wealthy man, I wouldn't have to work hard. Dagga-digga-dagga-digga-dagga-digga-daggle-dum. Lord, who made the lion and the lamb, you decreed I should be what I am. Would it spoil some vast eternal plan if I were a wealthy man?
To be able to be cast in this role, in a role that I was just dying to play, as I said, an iconic role of Tevye, a role that a character that's beloved by so many, but then to get the chance to play it at CenterStage at the Jewish Community Center was such a thrill and such an honor for me. So.
I'm Freda Schneider, and I run Tykes, Theater Young Kids Enjoy at the JCC. Tykes features adult professional actors performing for children and families and school groups. And we've also for many years done Kids Stage Summer Theater Camp. And that has been an amazing opportunity to work with children all summer long, doing all kinds of theater where the children get to be the stars and participate and create their own plays and musicals and scripts and improv and write their own material. It's just a fantastic creative experience. And so sometimes people ask me, what is my favorite show that we have ever done in the past 16 seasons? And I know that seems like a simple question, but that is the hardest thing for me to answer. And really, I feel like the latest show is my favorite. Like each one just gets more and more exciting for me. But truthfully, I can't pick a favorite, but one that I really, really loved was Winnie the Pooh. And it's one of the shows that we did in our just this past season. And there's so many reasons why I love that particular show. Maybe because it reminds me of mine and everyone's childhood, but also a thing I really loved about that was the audience interaction. We had little kids and babies and grandparents and everyone in between dancing the Tiggle Wiggle in the audience during the show. And I was amazed, like entire audiences, hundreds of people stood up to dance. And that's how you know that you are really engaging with the folks that are watching and really making a connection. And that to me is the whole purpose of children's theater, is making a connection. So any show that does that just brings warmth to my heart.
Let's do the Tiggle Wiggle. Let's Tiggle Wiggle. Sure. Here, I'll show you how. It's very simple and fun. First you wiggle, giggle, yes, and you wiggle, giggle, that, and you twist and you twirl to the left and right. You waggle, gaggle here, and you waggle, gaggle there, then you bounce, bounce with all your might. Now you try it. First you wiggle, giggle this, then you wiggle, giggle that, then you twist and you twirl to the left and right. You waggle, gaggle here, and you waggle, gaggle there, and you bounce, bounce with all your might. And now it's your turn. Everybody up!
So the greatest thing about Tykes, about creating children's theater, is the impact that it has on children's lives, not just at the moment that they are sitting in the audience enjoying a show or at the moment that they are on stage performing a show, but really the long-term impact that theater can have. And I love when children come up to us in their costumes where they dress for the show. For instance, when we did Superman, so many young superheroes attended our show. It was heartwarming. And I love when kids bring a book that corresponds with the show, or they bring their lovey or their stuffy with them. And sometimes that stuffy is dressed up to coincide with the show. And that kind of enthusiasm and connecting theater to something that's going on in your real life, that is just the most heartwarming thing. I love it so, so much.
So our Hitmakers series has been something really special to be a part of because I've been in them from the beginning. I think I've been in every one except for one, starting off as a performer and then segueing into co-director / choreographer, and then doing the whole thing myself as a director last year for the first time was really special to be able to do something that I know how to do, but in a different way and put my own spin on it. That was a really great experience.
Some are sad, oh, we gotta let
We're hoping that you're enjoying this trip through memory lane with some of your favorite Center Stage shows. It's been a rough year for us. It's been a rough year for a lot of people. If there is a way you can continue to support Center Stage during this time, we would appreciate it. Donations will go to ensure that we're able to continue to do the work once we're able to be back on stage again. Ticket sales this last year have dropped by 90%. So it is your support with these online shows and your donations that are going to help make sure that we're going to be here for you on the other side. If you can support us, we really appreciate it. Happy New Year.
Life had passed us by, and love had stolen away. At the end of our rope, we'd given up hope of one last roll in the hay. Discarded dolls, abandoned wrecks, condemned to a life of sinning and knitting when all we really wanted was
Did you bring the checky, my little turtle dove?
Yes, but first, Bialy, can we please play one dirty little game?
Here in broad daylight.
It'll just be a quickie.
All right, what?
Let's play the hairless Chihuahua and the well-hung Great Dane.
Are you on some kind of medication? You're killing me. I'm exhausted. Please, let's play one game where there's absolutely no sex.
What?
How about the Jewish princess and her husband?
So romantic, we were frantic, then our prayers were heard up above. Heaven sent us our Bialy, he's a celebration of love. And don't bring him up ahead.
Fire down below!
We were listening, we were singing, then along came the alley. We were desperate, we were drinking, then along came the alley. So romantic, we were frantic, then our prayers were heard up above. It's the alley, hail the alley, he's the culmination, the restoration, the consummation, the titillation, ejaculation, he's a celebration of love.
Bloom, I've got it!
What, Max?
We've got all the money! Now all we have to do is put on the biggest flop in history!
That's great!
We can do it! We can do it! We can make $1 million!
Bialy stuck in bloom, Bialy stuck in bloom, the show's a go!
He raised the money, we're on our way. Keep it gay,
And along
keep it
came the alley.
gay. We have a landing, I wanna do it in the day like Sunny Day. Everybody is starting up the way. We know that we can do it.
Wow, my first experience was the producers, yeah. And it had been 10 years since I had done something on stage, so that was a big deal. I had done stuff in college, and I did one or two things in the tri-state area, but then we had kids and I didn't do anything. And then I found myself laying on the floor dressed as Hamlet. And it wasn't Hamlet. I was doing the producers. And that was how the show started. And I was dead Hamlet. And that just was amazing. And it's been a big part of my life now at the JCC CenterStage.
Yeah, for me, very similar. I had taken a very long break from doing theater for 10 years, raising kids, and my first foot in the door of CenterStage was to audition for Caroline or Change. And that was such an incredible experience. I mean, the material was wonderful, but just the entire experience working on that production, music-wise and choreography, and just the, meeting so many people that we call dear friends now for the first time in that production was really cool to think back about.
One of the things that I love over the years, I've been in lots of different plays there, but I love that Ralph is really ambitious about bringing new plays to the stage.
Ralph has really worked so hard to bring newer plays that we haven't had the opportunity to see yet, and then brand new plays and world premiere plays. And working with Wendy was, just fantastic, and such an amazing group of women. It was just such a fabulous experience. And so that is just such a great memory for me. Also to play a character that was a little out of my comfort zone, because she was quite a little bit more out there than I usually am in my life, which is always, kind of fun to play something so opposite to yourself.
I've had the fortunate opportunity to be involved in Naked and Encino, Survivors, Our Suburb, My Mother's Lesbian Jewish Wiccan Wedding. All of those were new plays that were so exciting to be a part of.
Looking back on those experiences, what a gift, starting with My Mother's Lesbian Jewish Wiccan Wedding. I mean, to be a part of that show and to be a part of that legacy of that show.
Being able to be on stage with David Hein and Irene Sankoff, who wrote the play, who the play is about David and his mother and his experience of her coming out. Being part of that production, and it was I think the first regional theater that was done in the United States was at the JCC at CenterStage.
Ralph brought it.
Ralph brought it here. So I remember, they were still writing and making changes throughout the whole process. And that was really exciting. And then it was also really nerve-wracking when David's actual moms came and were sitting in the audience, and I was playing his mom.
You and Esther.
And Esther, yeah.
Esther Winter.
That's definitely one of the highlights, big highlight of my CenterStage experience.
And then to segue into having the honor of being a part of Church and State, and working with Jason Odell Williams, and then of course Division Street was just completely came out of the blue for me, and just what an honor to really work not only on a role that no one else had played before, but to be a part of witnessing the playwright's process. That was really interesting, to see what Jason would take away from rehearsals, or what he would come up with and send us here to Chester, and hearing his reading his words and his thought process for the characters was really it was really exhilarating. It was a really incredible experience. Very lucky.
I had just recently gone into the cast of Survivors, which is the play written by Wendy Count that's based on 10 local Holocaust survivors on their stories.
We created the show to augment our middle school and high school curriculum on the Holocaust and World War II. But it turned out once the show was produced that it was every bit as appropriate for an adult audience as it is for children 8th grade and up. And it is a poignant, heartwarming, hopeful story about surviving and living under the worst of conditions to go on and have successful, fruitful lives.
The fact that it's focused on young people, that it tells the stories of these survivors as they're young people, and it's delivered to young people, and it really focuses on what happens when hate gets normalized, and kind of asks the question, what can you do right now in your lives? What can you be aware of? How can you speak up for social justice?
So it is very much a lesson for us today and inspiring words to connect us to our past.
We each have our own story, but we share what some might call a miracle.
We are all survivors.
Nothing takes the place of live theater and that energy that you have between the actor on stage and the audience, and the connection and the ability to create empathy and emotion and understanding.
Everybody needs the arts. We all know that. And then the interesting thing about theater is that when it's created, it just happens then, at that point. Even if you do a show and it runs for years, each performance just happened that one time, and the audience members receive it, uniquely.
There's an immediacy and I guess an ephemeral quality to live performance that I always have such a respect for. It only happens in that moment that it happens, and it only truly exists in that moment.
That's what's so unique, and I can't wait till we can get back to doing that.
I think all of us are really looking forward to being back in a space of live theater, to feel that kind of electricity, the crackle, the communal experience of an entire audience. It's just there's nothing that replicates that feeling, whether you're on stage or sitting in the seats watching.
I miss that kind of the immediacy of it's happening right here, right now, for this time only, and it'll never be exactly the same again. And that's what's so special and what I love about it so much.
It's that live moment. It's the energy that the audience is giving you and that you're giving out that creates that special thing for that one night or that one moment.
I am very hopeful that it's going to come back bigger than ever, better than ever.
No one to talk with all by myself. No one to walk with, but I'm happy on the elevation. I'm in the shelf and misbehaving. I'm saving my life for you and you and you, ooh, and you. And if I serve the one I love, I'm through with flirting with you that I'm thinking of and misbehaving, saving my life for you. Hey, Daddy.
Like that corner in the corner, don't go nowhere. What do I care? Your kisses are worth waiting for. Believe me.
I don't stay out. I don't care to go.
I'm home about 8, just me and my neighbor's radio. I can't afford one.
And it's behaving, saving my life for you, saving my life just for you. Ooh,
No one to talk with all by myself. No one to walk with, oh, she's nobody. She's just a little girl that stopped by to drop off some Girl Scout cookies.
And it's behaving, saving my life for you.
I'm certain the one I love. What do you mean you didn't know Girl Scouts deliver? They do, yes.
My favorite moment as an audience member was the minute the entire Titanic cast lined across the stage, opened their mouths and, sang "Sail on, sail on."
Sail on, sail on, great ship, Titanic, crossing over sea. Bring your journey song till your port we found. Ocean's waves sing must be to thee. Ocean's waves sing must be to
That number, it was so Titanic. It was so big.
It was goosebump inducing and it just blew me away. And it did so every time I saw that moment in the show. It was astounding.
I have a favorite moment. It was in August Osage, which is not a like happy play, but the scene where I have to walk into a family party. I'm this awkward character who sort of feels like an outsider in his own family. And I walk in and I'm carrying a 3-bean casserole that my mother has made, and she asked me to bring it in. And then I'm introduced to people at the table. And as I'm shaking hands, I'm supposed to drop the casserole, which is made of real food, onto the stage floor. And every night, people thought that I did it by accident and were horrified and didn't know what the actors were going to do because he dropped the casserole and you can see it plainly skidding across the floor. And it was so fun to just do that every night. I'd balance it specifically so that it would tip and land with enough splash so that people knew something was coming out. So that was a lot of fun to choreograph the dropping of the 3-bean casserole.
My favorite memory is probably Coney Island Christmas, just because it was, I think, my first straight play, and being able to do it with my family.
And then at 3 o'clock, you'll come straight home. Oh, Papa, please, say something.
Sorry, Shirley. You heard your mother.
No, but that was, I think, really special to get to do that with my family, and also to play a character who is so close to who I am, was really fun.
You looked great as Jesus Christ.
I know, I rocked that Jesus costume.
One of the things that I really pride myself on is really focusing on bringing Rochester some of the hottest new works coming out of New York. And this is one of my favorites, a play I saw off Broadway and was thrilled to be able to be the first theater outside of New York City to be able to get the license to produce. This is Bad Jews.
So, are you two just like casually dating, or is this more serious? I think. Yes, it's serious. How serious? Pretty serious, I think. Huh. What kind of name is Melody? What? What's its derivation? Oh, I don't know, Caucasian. What's your background? What do you mean? Where does your family come from? Oh, Delaware. Before that. Before what? Before Delaware. I mean, we've always been in Delaware. No, you haven't. Actually, yes, we've always been. Actually, no, you haven't always been in Delaware. The only people who have always been in Delaware are indigenous Delawareans. But even they didn't start there. Even they had to cross over the Bering Strait Land Bridge during the last ice age. But But if you look around Delaware, if you actually opened up your eyes and looked, probably wouldn't see too many of them still there, right? And why is that? Why is that? Well, I'll tell you why that is. The reason why that is, and the reason why families like the one that you come from can't even live in Delaware, is because all those native peoples were slaughtered so that people who look like you and pray like you and reproduce like you could grow up in peaceful suburban housing development with bookshelves filled with the King James Bible and Nicholas Sparks novels and Eat, Pray, Love, which is probably your favorite book. But no Howard Zinn. Am I right or am I right? Yeah. So, if your family has always been in Delaware, then the truth of the matter is, which we have to face, unfortunately, hard as it may be, is that your family was more than likely major contributors and perhaps even leaders of the most atrocious genocide in American history. Which means that you have the blood of genociders coursing through your veins right this very second. But even if they did that, they still had to come from somewhere. So, what I am asking you is, where did your family come from before they moved to Delaware to perpetrate genocide?
As a non-Jewish person, I've been very, very thankful for the times when JCC does produce a show with Jewish themes, that I feel very grateful to have learned something, and to have the Jewish experience illuminated for me, to be enlightened about history. And that's happened several times for me. And I think that's a really important part of the theater as well. I really believe that the more knowledge we have about religion and each other's history as people, are only going to make us better people and, benefit the world in general. And I think that's a really important part of what happens at CenterStage as well.
I'll also say, as a Jewish woman, it's been nice to be able to be in lots of plays that have Jewish themes. Not everything does there, but my Mother's Lesbian Jewish Wiccan Wedding, Fiddler on the Roof, Carolina Change. I'm sure there's many others.
Parade, where ironically none of us played Jewish characters.
Right.
But at the same time, the plays we've been in that have meant so much to us, they've not all been Jewish themed, but I loved the opportunity to get to speak Yiddish in The Immigrant, and then more recently in Indecent, and to be able to invest creative energy into that part of our collective history. But those shows, a lot of those shows that you mentioned, that Carolina Change, Parade, Indecent, these are really important, brilliant, and important plays that otherwise I haven't seen them in other parts of our theater community. The JCC brings shows to Rochester that otherwise audiences would not get to see in a live theater space.
Wunderschön ist in Paris, auf der Rue Madeleine. Schön ist es im Mai in Rom, durch das Wasser gehen. Oder eine Sommernacht, still beim Wein in Wien. Doch ich häng, wenn ihr auch lacht, heut Nacht an Berlin. Ich hab noch einen Koffer in Berlin. Deswegen muss ich nicht empfehlen.
Schafe drin. Ich hab noch einen Koffer in Berlin. Der bleibt doch dort und das hat seinen Sinn.
Auf diese Weise nimmt sich der Reise. Denn wenn ich Sehnsucht hab, dann fahr ich wieder hin.
Auf diese Weise noch siegt der Reise, denn wenn ich Sehnsucht hab, dann fahr ich wieder hin.
As a family and as individuals, our relationship with JCC CenterStage is long and intimate. 1993, I was in Schmolnick's Waltz, and there was a nude scene, and I hadn't met Jody yet, but her parents were subscribers, so they got to see my naked behind before my wife did. Oh, I should have had you cover your ears for that one.
No, that's okay. I can handle it.
Sorry to mortify you.
It's just been an interesting journey with CenterStage. It was an unexpected, happy circumstance that, you saw that article in the paper about the audition for Caroline, and which started our journey with CenterStage, and we have been a part of the CenterStage family in some way, shape, or form ever since. I mean, it's been a very long time of us going to see shows and either one of us being in the show or going to support our friends in a show. And
also our son Jack, who started off doing for the summer series, right?
Yeah,
for
Spring Awakening. He was the
There's Spotlight.
follow-up. Yeah.
And then he just really found that he loved it and did a lot more, and just kept doing productions, and went from spot operator to backstage and building sets, and now he does it as a profession.
Right.
So,
He went off to college at Ithaca to pursue it as a career, and that's what he does. And it's all because of CenterStage and the opportunity he was given there.
I grew up at this theater, backstage with my parents, on stage when some of my first theater experiences with my family, and like backstage here, watching my parents being a part of being like a young person in a cast of adult actors, like learning what theater is, why it's important, how to be a professional actor, what it means to take responsibility for myself in a part of an ensemble. All of that I really learned kind of growing up backstage with my parents a lot of the time at the JCC, and on stage with my parents as well.
I love the process. I love that first day of rehearsal, when you're all sitting, waiting, to sing the music for the first time, for instance, or the first read through of a play, and the digging that you do as a performer into your character.
I'm really missing the community. Yeah. Just being with a group of creative people working on a common creative goal, the trust that builds in there, the kind of feeling like a space that's yours.
The theater itself feels like a home when I walk into it. When I open that theater door and I walk in for a rehearsal or walk in for performance, I feel like I'm also opening the door to my home and walking in. It just feels that comfortable.
The quality of the art that you see on stage at the J is it's impressive. I don't think a lot of cities our size have theaters that produce those shows that look the way our shows look and are given that kind of professional attention.
Yeah, as an actor, I think working at the JCC, you always know you're going to be treated respectfully and professionally. The production values are wonderful. You know you're going to be working with incredibly talented people. So as a performer, it's walking into getting cast in a center stage production, you're going to have a really professional experience.
And that experience wouldn't be possible without all of our amazing directors and designers, our costumers, lighting, sound, props, David and our amazing set construction crew, our fabulous stage managers, all the running crew, spot operators, the musicians, the choreographers, the front of house and box office staff, our lovely volunteer ushers, our Center Stage Advisory Council, and the JCC staff, all of the front desk and housekeeping and maintenance. And of course, to all of our generous donors. We wouldn't be able to do what we do without your talents, your dedication, and your support. So thank you.
We hope you've enjoyed our trip down memory lane and revisiting some of our favorite shows from the past. We look forward to seeing you back at Center Stage, live in the theater sometime in 2021.
Have a fabulous 2021. Raise a cocktail, raise the whole bottle, and just enjoy yourselves. And have a very, very happy New Year. Stay safe, stay happy, and stay healthy. '20 was. Lots of love from our home to yours.
From my home to your home.
From our family to yours.
From our family to yours.
From our family to yours.
Happy New Year!
Woo-hoo!
Happy New Year, everyone!
Happy New Year!
Happy New Year from all of us at JCC and Center Stage to you and all of your families.
Mwah!
Mwah!